People like me after Friday.
Well, welcome back to everybody. Welcome back to our show here. We're talking about Plano football right now. We're going to be talking about all kinds of Plano athletics. And as you can see to my left, we have been joined by an additional individual here who everybody recognizes, Coach Johnny Ringo from Plano East. Coach, good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Coach, I'm just going to get right down to the nitty-gritty here and ask you a question that I think a lot of people are wondering about right now. You know, early on, the prognosticators weren't being all that, let's say, kind to Plano East.
Right.
You guys had a heck of a scrimmage against Coppell, which the 13th ranked team in the state by a lot of folks. And a lot of people all of a sudden are saying, holy mackerel, they just might be a force to be reckoned with now. How do you feel about that, Coach? Clear, you got to be pleased with the scrimmage.
Well, we were very pleased. Again, you know, I think you said the key word is just it was just a scrimmage, you know, but we were able to fare well in the controlled portion. We were scored 3 times, they scored 3 times, and then in the 2 quarters that you play, we were up 17-14, and so we saw a lot of great things from our kids, both offensively, defensively. Not a whole lot of special teams, but the one thing that we wanted to see, or the things we wanted to get out of the scrimmage, we definitely got out of it against a quality opponent, one that 2 years ago beat us in the second round of the playoffs. And it was important for us to get off to a good start. We didn't start well with the first drive. Our first drive, we didn't make a first down. They went down and scored in 8 plays. But after that, we settled in, and the kids did a really unbelievable job.
Coach, talk about what that does for your confidence factor. And here's the reason I say that. The first year I covered you folks, you guys won your first 6 games and just had that swagger about you where you felt like you were indestructible, 10 feet tall and bulletproof, that kind of stuff. And then kind of got knocked off that pedestal, and all of a sudden that confidence disappears, which, as you know, with young men 16, 17, 18 years old,
right,
that psyche is fragile. It can happen.
Right.
So if you do get the folks believing in themselves, that's a huge part of it.
Well, it's the biggest part of it, and that, you know, we're Plano East. We feel like we're one of the top programs in the state, well respected across the state, but at the same time, the district that we play in, 8-5A, which I consider the SEC of high school football, you know, is tough for every week. And so we've got to have that confidence to go into games, to know that we're capable of producing offensively, defensively, and in special teams. And so, again, it just, as you said, it's critical that we go up against a quality opponent like Coppell, who's done an outstanding job the last 2 years and even before that, and come away with a good feeling. And so hopefully that'll carry over to this Friday against Arlington. It should. But that's one of the things we try to instill each day, Kevin, and our kids, just great confidence in their abilities, their belief in one another, their teamwork, things of that nature.
I'll tell you what, Coach, the judge has been on the internet for the last 2 hours dredging up all kinds of facts and figures for you, and I'm going to turn this over to him right now because he's got some interesting research. So why don't you take it away there, Judge?
Well, first of all, Coach, go Panthers, right?
Thank you very much. That's right. Go
graduated
Panthers.
in 1990, so I'm sure Coach
That's
McCullough's
exactly
not going
right.
to appreciate that too much.
No, that's
Coach
okay.
Hughes,
They put their helmet in the middle, so it's okay. Yeah.
you know, last year I was looking over some of the numbers and some of the losses, very close losses. You averaged in the district 31 points a game is what they say you averaged. But defensively, you gave up 28 points a game.
Right.
How do you, I mean, you're offensively, your quarterback, and Corey is just fantastic. What can you do this year to help tighten that defense up so those 31 points, which again was 3rd best in the district,
Right.
will help catapult you in the playoffs this year?
Well, I think that's, 2 years ago when we first hired Coach Patrick and the defensive staff did an outstanding job. And that's the reason we were, I think that year we were also picked, as one of the seller teams in the district, in pre-district or the selections, and ended up going into the 2nd round, and it was due to our defense. Offensively, Coach Humble's done a great job with his staff, and so that 2 years ago that was there. Last year it was missing, we think, for a combination of various reasons. We had 9 starters out at any one time for injuries. We don't ever make excuses, but obviously that affects you if you're preparing each week with someone different. And so we weren't where we needed to be defensively. And Coach Patrick and those guys take it very personal, and that's one of the things that we hope to shore up this fall. When you see us play this coming week and weeks to come, that'll be the one thing that you'll see that's different about the Panthers, that we get back to playing the type of defense that we're accustomed to. Because, again, in this district, if you don't, then you're going to struggle. And you can put up as many points as you want, but obviously the key to championships is playing great defense, we feel like.
Well, and I was looking again, as Kevin said, through a lot of the 5A state websites, state football websites. And one of the things that I'm seeing as a common theme was some of the watch lists of some of the players to watch up and coming. Of course, one of the players touted is quarterback Corey Wesley,
right,
who had 20-plus touchdowns last season, but also touted is your other quarterback, Jackson Garvey, and a wide receiver by the name of Trey Jones. Mm-hmm. How do you see being able to use all that talent and get them in there offensively to impact the Panthers as they go through a very tough district?
Well, Corey was the third leading passer in the area last year, and he's the fifth leading overall passer returning in the state as a senior. And so we've got a great young man at quarterback, not only from his physical play, but his leadership abilities, the type of young man that he is. And last year he had two great receivers, and he had more than two, but we had two that really were special. And of course, that makes a quarterback. You've got to have those guys, and we feel like Trey Jones be one of those that would fill that role, and we've got a host of others that are doing a good job in that regard as well. But Corey's a run threat as well as obviously a passing threat. He does a tremendous job, and he's a guy that he'll make our offense go. He's got to be that guy for us. We've got two great running backs in Nathan Metters and Dante Taylor who return, and both had great years last year. And so we may be more of a run-oriented team this year, more play-action type pass than what you saw last year. But we still going to be ones to mix it up. Jackson will play defense for us. He was a quarterback last year on a junior varsity and did an awesome job. He's a great athlete, and we hope to get him. He's on the defensive side of the ball, starting as one of our low safeties, and just done an outstanding job. And then Trey Jones, we lost last year, I think, the fourth game, our first district ball game against Marcus to a knee injury.
Right.
His dad, Bill, played in the NFL, and so Trey's got great speed, great explosion, and we've gotten him back from that injury, but it still bothers him, and it's recovering from an ACL is tough. And so, but he's looked good in preseason, so all of those guys will be keys to our eventual success this fall.
Let me climb in the corner where the white elephant is sitting, because we know that the Star Courier, Morning News, and the websites are talking about it.
Right.
Allen High School,
right,
ranked #1 in the state of Texas, bringing back 13 all-district returners.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are being touted as the next Dallas Cowboys almost, it seems like. Like, you don't even have a chance. Why even dress up Friday night? Like in 1930, Salina just needs to forfeit against Plano and not worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I look down at it and I look at all the things that I build up, you've got Allen coming up. They have all that talent, but yet I don't think Plano East lacks in talent. What is the answer, though? Because it seems like they've been the kryptonite in the room. What is the answer to Allen High School this year?
Well, for us to play a complete game, to play 4 quarters. Last year we were ahead at halftime, and have been in games with them, and it's been very close. And so that's the whole key. They do a great job over there, great staff, and they're well coached. The kids play hard, and they've had great success. They won a state championship. But that's the whole key for us, is just to get off to a great start. We talk about starting fast and finishing strong, and we did that last year. Started fast but didn't finish strong. Came out in the third quarter, and we didn't look like the same football team that looked like in the first half. And so all that being said, we know the talent they have. We know the ranking that they have, but, we look forward to the challenge, and we're going to play that game on ESPN2 October the 6th. And, when they called us, they didn't call they called us first because I was the home team, but they didn't want us. They wanted Allen, obviously. But I said, hey, that's fine. We'd love to. They asked us what type of team we'd have, and I said, hey, don't worry about us. We'll show up, and we'll be ready to play. And asked us about our stadiums down here, and I said, and I was nice. I wanted to say, hey, I've seen some of the stadiums you put on there up north with 6 rows of stands. I said, you'll be impressed with Kimbrough, and they were. And so, but anytime we can get our kids on television, it doesn't matter the game for me. That's a great opportunity for Plano ISD as well as Plano East and for our kids. And so we're really excited about that opportunity to play them, on national television. The last time that we were televised was on Fox. It was regional against them, a great first half. And then you saw the same thing from the Panthers again in the third and fourth quarters. It's just, not the same football team. So again, for us, in any game we play, Judge, we just want to be consistent for 4 quarters of play.
Just one more question. I'm going to kick it back over to Kevin. Coach, I hear a lot of times the conversation amongst fans. I was at that Allen game last year and was pretty proud, walking around like a proud peacock as a Panther, and then just watched us kind of unfold in the third quarter.
Right.
My question comes up, the fans talk about, well, Allen's just so big. Their enrollment's so big. I looked this year at the enrollment numbers, and Plano East has got bigger numbers as the 4-year look. Plano West has less numbers, but Plano Senior High has more numbers. So is it really enrollment, or is it at a different time and a different stage, different high school teams will have different prosperity, and then sometimes will have different?
I think so. I mean, you look at the the top 100 list, and again, those recruiting lists are about half those kids never pan out in college. It's nice to be considered in the top 100. We don't have anybody on the list. Plano doesn't. Plano West has 1 player, and Allen has quite a few. And so, that being said, I think from year to year, it's just what you said. It's just the people you have in place. What we're looking for at East are just really good high school football players. Kids that are going to consider this experience to be a great experience and why they're playing the game, not so much about getting a chance to play at the next level. If they're good enough, they'll have that chance. But Allen is a single high school community. You know, people can point to that at times and say they've got a captive audience. You know, they're growing up. Whereas I feel like we're the same. We're Plano, but we're divided into 3 regional type areas or geographical areas, and so east side of town, I feel like we've got that same ability to be a single high school community, even though we're not. We do have a large enrollment, and so, but you still have to. You only put 11 on the field at a time, and so they've got 11, we've got 11, and it's just a matchup there of who's going to win the play each and every time.
Kevin, I'm going to kick it back to you.
Well, I'm just going to touch on a few things there, Johnny, before we'll get you out of here to your Booster Club meeting, which is going to be taking place a few minutes here. But, Coach, you're talking about being on ESPN, a nationwide audience. Coach, the last time we did a project like that with NFL Films, I sure thought it came across pretty good.
It did. I don't know that we've won yet. Kevin, been on television. So when I told people that, they were questioning, well, why would you do that again? Because I think we've been on 3 times and not won yet. But it was, again, each time we've done that, it's been a great experience for our kids and not only for our players, but our entire student body and the entire population of Student East, with our cheerleaders, our band, the drill team, all the folks that are involved in that. And so it was a neat deal, and the NFL Films was a great deal that they did, and anytime, again, we get that opportunity, it moves it to a Thursday because of UIL rules in Texas, but we're excited about it. Our kids are, we couldn't post it for quite a while because ESPN wants to release that information. Well, it was tweeted months ago that this was going to happen, and so everybody knew, but they acted like they were real excited when I told them the other day for the first time.
I'll tell you what, though, I've got to tell you one thing, then this is going to sound vainglorious, but happened that there was, I guess, a point of amusement to me. When NFL Films comes around, they play hardball. They must have had 15, 20 cameras wander around the stadium, and they were all over the place. And they had one camera mounted right on me. I was doing the play-by-play that night, but they never used one shot. Do you think, Judge, that they're telling me something there?
We may not make ESPN2 is what it means, Kevin.
Coach, we haven't asked you anything about Arlington now. What do we know about them? What are you concerned about?
Well, Coppell was a great test for us, a great challenge, but Arlington on tape looks faster and really more athletic than Coppell, and that's saying a lot. Coppell's got a really good football team. Joe McBride does an awesome job there, but they're last year they had the big receiver that went to Texas that played quarterback for them, and he was more of a running quarterback. We didn't really know what to expect that first game, and it was a shootout. We lost in overtime. And really felt like we shouldn't have. We had a PAT that we blocked. We returned a punt for a touchdown. So when you have those things occur in a game, special team-wise, you're supposed to win. But this year, I think that you'll see a good football team. They were 7-4 last year, lost in the first round playoffs to Abilene after being up 21-0. They ended up getting beat 23-21. So got to go to their place over at Cravens. It's going to be awful tropical, awful hot on Friday night. So we're hoping we're in good shape. And I think, again, if we'll just go out and do what we ask our kids to do, what we've been coached to do, and play hard, we'll be okay.
Coach, it's always great to see you, and we certainly wish you the best of luck. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Coach Johnny Ringo. When we return, which we'll be back right after these messages, we're going to visit with Mike Hughes, head coach of Plano West.